So we're going to find out more on this topic by connecting with the Institute for Criminal Justice Reform Program Manager, Mbak Maidina Rahmawati. Good morning, Mbak Mai.
Hello, Mbak Mai.
Morning.
Hi there.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us
Hi
today.
there. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so let's get right into this. On July the 6th, the government submitted the draft criminal code bill to the House of Representatives Common 3, however, doing so without publicly revealing its contents. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, actually, we need to remember why the government and why the president withdrew the draft of the Bill of Penal Code in 2019. There was a substantial reason why the government withdrew the draft. The president mentioned that the government need to have the analysis on the substantive aspect and do the revision on the substantial aspect. And it's not only about the delay the process of the passing, but the government need to be responsible about the materials of the bill itself. And the government actually has already conducted 12 socialization meeting in 12 cities in Indonesia, and the government did not report in detail how the process of the socialization, and it should be reported first with the open discussion with the parliament. And also, actually, our National Alliance for Penal Code Reform has mapped that the crucial notes or crucial material related to draft, it's not only limited to the 14 articles, but we map around 24 of crucial articles that the government and the parliament needs to open for a new discussion because of the substantial aspect itself.
Okay, so 24 articles, but I believe in the 2019 draft, there were 14 controversial articles, as you mentioned before. Now, Deputy Law and Human Rights Minister Edward Omar Sharif claimed that the government had revised 7 of those articles, of those 14 in the articles in the draft. So do you think this is adequate?
Actually, it's not sufficient in our in the perspective of our national alliance, because the revision is very limited to the formulation for the wording, and also the government on the ministry only focus on the explanation or on the notes of the article, not on the fundamental reason why the civil society, why our national alliance reject. It's based on the reason why we don't need any more criminalization, but the government insists only to have the revision on the wording, on the formulation, not on the substantial ground about the urgency of the criminalization. And the philosophy reason why the government does not need to criminalize certain act. But the limitation, but the revision from the government limited to the explanation, the notes, and not respond to the philosophy or the reason why the government does not need to include the more criminalization in the Bill of Penal Code.
Okay, so despite having 7 revised articles, some are still objecting to 4 of them in particular. Namely, they are the Articles 415, 416 on adultery, Article 217 on defamation against the president and vice president. There's Article 315 as well on defamation against authorities and government institutions. And finally, Article 601 on the violation of traditional laws, and Article 256 on holding marches and rallies and demonstrations as well. So what do you think are the crucial points from these articles that need more evaluations?
Yeah, actually, like first problem is related to the adultery, as I mentioned before. The government only respond by revising the formulation, but our rejection is based on the ground, on the philosophy. Because of the adultery, the government intrude our privacy. It will be the threat of our rights to privacy, but the government does not respond to the problem of the protection of the privacy. They keep insisting to formulate the article on adultery with some modification, but on philosophy we need to protect our privacy rights. And also related to the defamation against the president and the government, as we already keep mentioning that actually, our constitutional court already revoked this article in the constitutional court decision clearly mentioned that the government is not allowed to reintroduce the related criminalization on the defamation against the president and the government. But the government does not really respond to the criminal court decision. They do some modification with the articles, but our reason why the government is not allowed to introduce the criminalization is based on the philosophy, on the consideration from the constitutional court. It's not because the article on the defamation against the president and against the government is not relevant for the democratic country like Indonesia after the reformation in 1988.
I see.
98.
Okay.
And and also related to the for example the criminalization on holding march, demonstration and rallies. Actually, we have a reform in our after the reform in 1998. The rally, if we fail to submit a notification before the rally, the consequences only to have the rally dismissed by the authorities. But in the bill of penal code, it will be criminalized with the imprisonment up to 6 month imprisonment. So so it's basically not respond to the legal development that we have been conducted since the reformation. So from our perspective, the government, if the government want to have a new bill of penal code, want to have a new penal code, that the government should fully consider about the legal development that we have already achieved during the reformation in Indonesia.
But so are you saying when it comes to philosophy, it's just we're not getting enough information, we don't know enough, or is it just because the government is not being transparent enough in regards to this?
Yeah, actually, it's part of the political from the government to criminalize this certain act, because actually the government has already has been informed about the argumentative or about the reason why we reject these problematic articles, like for example the defamation against the president and the defamation against the government. They already know all the arguments, but they keep mentioning that we do the modification of the article, like for example defamation against the president, they change it to complaint-based offense with some modification that the case can only be proceeded under the complaint from the president. But in the constitutional court itself, the constitutional court mentioned that the article, the same article or the similar article should not be reintroduced by the government in the new bill of penal code, but the government keep mentioning about the changes to complaint-based offense.
Okay, and Mbak Mai, we know that some of the revision, the final draft of the revision haven't been informed to the public. Now, this lack of transparency really affect the public. Now, we also want to know in regards to women's rights, how will this affect women's rights?
Actually, we can appreciate the feminist movement in Indonesia because related to feminist issue. The article related to the feminist issue was dominating the public discourse on Bill of Penal Code. Like for example, the analysis, gender analysis on adultery, and also about the rape formulation. And also, actually, we can appreciate the progress from the government in the bill, the latest bill. The government introduced the exclusion for the criminalization of abortion
law
for victim of rape and also for medical emergency, to extend the pregnancy allowed for abortion is 12 weeks pregnancy. So actually so actually in the current law is 8 weeks, and the government in the latest draft introduced the new one, the progressive article, to be 12 weeks. So it's one of the progress demand by the feminist movement in Indonesia.
That's nice.
And also other progressive aspect related to the feminist issue is also on the criminalization of rape, because currently we have a lack provision on rape, like it's only limited for penetration penis to vagina, and the government introduced the progressive articles that also cover the any form of penetration, and it's one of the progressive aspect. And also in the rape itself, the government mentioned that the rape is included as a sexual violence. So it
Okay.
means that the rights of victim and the criminal procedure law will be used the recently passed our TPKS law.
That's
Right.
nice to
So,
hear.
So it's one of the progressive aspect.
looking forward, obviously Commission 3 is set to deliberate on this draft. How can we, the public, or can we at all, give any sort of input or take part in this decision-making process?
Yeah, it's actually one of the problem we are facing right now, because based on the latest meeting in July 6th, the member of parliament mentioned that the decision whether they want to have a more open discussion will be decided in their internal meeting. So we cannot have we can monitor what the reason the parliament want to open the discussion or not.
Okay.
And we cannot know what are the crucial issue raised by the parliament, because the government mentioned only 14, but we demand for more open discussion for 24 crucial
24
issue. But yeah, but still it's really depend on the perspective from the member of parliament. And if we see also from the latest discussion in July 6, the member of parliament want to soon finalize the bill of penal code. Even one of the member of one of the member of parliament mentioned that we don't have to put the word of finalization in our agreement, but we put it discussion. But the member reject the idea to put the word of discussion
Wow.
in the agreement between the parliament and the government. So we can see from the meeting that the focus of the government and the member of parliament, it will be on finalizing the draft, not to open the discussion. Even there's some changes from the government. Actually, the change is not only limited to 14 crucial issue, but the government did some revision outside the 14 crucial issue. And from our perspective, it should be reported to public, and public need to have the access to monitor the process.
Right.
Okay. Now, speaking of what the public wants, the controversy surrounding the 2019 draft was followed by massive student demonstrations. So, what can the government do to prevent the same outcry right now in 2022?
Yeah, there is information from the government. We received that there will be only one or two open discussion between the parliament and the government. And there is also information from the member of parliament that they will not open list or extend the list of crucial issue, and will not respond the critical notes from the civil society. So from our perspective, from a National Alliance perspective, we need to be remember in 2019 why the demonstration happened, and it's because of the latest draft is not fully open to public. So I think in this process, because we are now in the recess in the government, and the government has submitted the draft, so we need to have adequate enough time from the civil society to map or to reread the all provision, the all formulation in the bill
Yeah.
of penal code,
Okay.
but the parliament has to commit it to open the discussion.
Okay.
Actually, our National Alliance plan to have a meeting or roadshow meeting with the member of parliament, demanding them to open the discussion, not only to have an open discussion limited to 14 crucial issue, but they have to be open with more crucial issue from the civil society. I think it's better for us right now, the civil society, the public, to urge the member of parliament to be as to really represent us
Yeah.
and to be critical with the proposal from the government, and we can have a more open discussion on the bill of penal code once it will be deliberate in the parliament.
All right.
In your opinion, do you feel, Mbak Mai, that there could be any sort of recurring protests or something similar that took place in 2019 if things don't go the way that the public sees fair?
Yeah, actually, right now, currently, there are some protests from the students' university
Right.
across Indonesia. Before the government submit the draft to the member of parliament, they already done some demonstration ultimatum to the government to open the draft, and right now they also urge the government, urge the member of parliament to open a discussion. I think if the government and the parliament still think to not to have the open discussion, there will be a huge demonstration like in
Wow.
2019.
Right. Well, we certainly hope that there's some middle ground that can
Yeah.
be found between the public and
Yes.
the government when it comes to this as well. But I really appreciate your time
Thank you,
this
Ma'am Mai.
morning to discuss this, and we hope that there's further progress to be made when it comes to this revised criminal code.
Yes.
So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.
Stay
Stay
Have a
safe.
great day too.
All right.